Hey guys, so we have a mini tea today, but before we get into that, Instagram, Twitter, follow me on there, it's a fun time. But also, by the time this video is up on this channel, I should have my first video on my second channel up. If you don't know I have a second channel, I announced it on Twitter and Instagram, which is why you need to follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you want to know all the exciting bits and pieces of my life. But second channel will be in the description down below, as well as the video that I uploaded, just in case you guys want to watch it. It's for this look. I literally just filmed how I did this. It was a get ready with me. We chatted, we had fun, I hope. And now we're getting into the video. Recently, if you guys don't know, Trisha Paytas announced that she had DID, which is dissociative identity disorder, and turns out that she really does not have that, as we know, because, you know, there's just a lot of things that don't add up. And then recently, her ex-girlfriend filmed a video on her channel which basically just went over the contradictions. She reacted to the videos that Trisha Paytas posted and basically spoke about them from the perspective of someone that actually has DID, and how the alters, for example, when Trisha Paytas turns, she switches in her videos. There will be a moment where she was doing something and then out of nowhere she's like, oh, and now I'm this other alter. She was like, that's not how it happens. There usually has to be some form of a trigger, whether it's positive or negative. Something has to happen to trigger you to switch to a different identity. Obviously, I'm not that aware of DID. I don't think many people are. So I've been calling it personality. It's not a personality disorder. It's an identity disorder. It's a whole different thing. And yeah, so she doesn't switch between personalities. So she switches between identities, allegedly, but she doesn't because it's false. So she reacted to it. I'll put the video in the description as well, just so you guys can watch just how sad she is, I guess. And she kind of goes over why she's so sad and how it affects that community. Because I think many people are like, oh, what's the big deal? You know, like, oh, she's just Trisha being Trisha. But there is a deeper sense here of her giving a community that's already full of stigmas and kind of negative connotations just a worse time. Like, she's giving them a worse representation than ever before. She's basically the embodiment of the Split movie, which I know a lot of people in the DID community have been very upset about and very vocal about, because it shows that whole side of people with DID are dangerous and you need to watch out because they're going to kill you. And it's like, that's not how 99.9% of people with DID function. So I think it was just a very interesting video to watch. She goes over just how DID actually works, the things that they spoke about, how Trisha never said she had DID to Encina. They were dating, so, you know, you'd think that she would know, but she didn't. She then goes on to say that Trisha Paytas definitely does have mental issues, but it's not DID. And she could have, I think she mentioned bipolar or borderline personality disorder, but she definitely does not have DID. And that's coming from someone who actually has DID. So, and then another Trisha Paytas news, she was on the H3H3 podcast when she pretended to be transgender, which is, you know, and then they have this kind of like online bachelor thing they do, and she was supposed to take part in that, and then mid doing that she starts dating Gila's brother, which is insane. She's clearly being a troll. Like, at this point, I don't think she would date Gila's brother because she actually wants to date him. I think everything Trisha Paytas does has some kind of an ulterior motive to do with clout, money, or views. I am convinced. I don't think, is it really a coincidence that she was supposed to be doing a bachelor with H3H3 and she out of nowhere starts dating Gila's brother, which ruins the whole bachelor episode for them. Like, they've been prepping for this, and out of nowhere she's dating Gila's brother. They basically have to now accept her into the family because she's dating Gila's brother, so she's gonna have to be around them. And I think before they've stated that they feel uncomfortable around her. It's just so insane the lengths that she will go to ruin people, or, you know, get clout and be a troll on the internet. I think everything she does is calculated. I think she's a lot more intelligent than we think she is, because she does so much calculated to just annoy people, and she knows that she'll get a rise out of everyone with different things. Like when she did the I'm transgender, she got a rise out of the transgender community. Then she did the DID thing and she got a rise out of the DID community. She does things very specifically to get a certain reaction from a certain group of people, and I think it's disgusting. And she's doing that now, the H3H3 podcast. It's wild. But then, like, what did you expect? Like, they're gonna film a podcast with someone who's like that and expect her to have respect for their time and value the commitment that she made to their podcast? Of course not. She's gonna obviously do her own thing and use this as a way to get more views again, because the H3H3 podcast is now gonna talk about her and she's gonna get more views. And I don't know what they expected, honestly. I recently spoke about Jeffree Star and the Nate car situation, and there's been more updates about that. So what happened was, back when Jeffree Star and Nate were still dating, they filmed a video where Jeffree Star sold Nate's favorite car, which was the Bentley, and bought an Aston Martin. And they basically pretended Jeffree Star was buying the Aston Martin for Nate. So the video was called something like "Buying My Boyfriend His Dream Car." And then recently Jeffree Star changed the title to "Pretending to Buy My Ex-Boyfriend His Dream Car," and then the video was taken down. So what many people are now thinking is that there was some legal action being pursued, where Nate wanted that car for himself. Even the description of the video was changed by Jeffree Star to say like, oh, this car was always mine, this car was always in my name, and this video was fake. Now, Jeffree Star then filmed a house tour, and he's kind of went over what happened, and he basically said that the car was always his. It was always in his name. The video was fake, but he was worried to say that it was fake because then people would question every other video that they created on the channel, and he didn't want to have the reputation of someone that does fake content for views. And it was just like a one-off video that they filmed, and yeah, just in general, I think some legal action was being pursued because he also did, I believe, either a Snapchat or an Instagram story where he says that sometimes you think you know someone really well, and then things go wrong and they show their true colors and they start doing things that you would never expect them to do. And I think that's regarding Nate, because he's like, they try to do you dirty and they try to do you wrong, and I think Nate was trying to get something out of Jeffree Star from this breakup. I think he was trying to possibly use that video as leverage to get the car and pretend that it was in his name. So Jeffree Star first tried to change the name, and then he just took the video down because people realized the name change and then were questioning why the name change took place, and then I think it was just too much of a hassle, so he took the video down and then clarified in a new video that all the cars are in his name, everything is in Jeffree Star's name, and nothing belongs to Nate, because I think possibly Nate was trying to get some free goodies on the way out. What was that? So that's kind of a shame. I'm always like, I know it always scares me when people show their relationships and there's one person that is like super rich and there's one person that isn't, and sometimes that can definitely work. I mean, people are good people just regardless of their economic status in the world, but sometimes you see things go very wrong when the person leaving the relationship is like, well, I want everything. And I think that's what's happening here, because Jeffree Star was always, you know, the breadwinner in that house. He was buying the houses and the cars and providing the lavish lifestyle, and I think Nate just wants a piece of that without actually having to be in that relationship, which tea. Some more Jeffree Star tea, which is actually so pathetic. So recently, Mason Dissick, who is Courtney and Scott's son, was on live on Instagram, and when he was asked who is your favorite beauty girl, he said, I'm not sure, but I'd probably say James because he's really nice, unlike Jeffree Star, who is a spoiled brat or something. And before I get further into this tea, let me just elaborate that Mason Dissick is 10 years old. He's 10. He's a 10-year-old child, and someone tweeted out saying, now Mason Dissick has done another live and threw some shade at Jeffree Star by calling him spoiled. LMAO, who knew 2020 was the year he would start to become my favorite Kar Jenner kid? And Jeffree Star replied to that tweet that had literally 12 likes, and it was posted 17 minutes before. Jeffree Star wasn't atted, so he clearly looks himself up. Like I've said this before, he looks himself up. I've never atted him on Twitter, and then I got blocked because I expressed an opinion. I don't think. He's insane. Like, you'd think with the amount of work he has to do, like with his business and YouTube and everything else that he does, he wouldn't have time to look himself up on Twitter, but he does. And yeah, that tweet was posted 17 minutes before he replied to it. Insane. Jeffree Star said, I had $500 in my bank account 6 years ago. Maybe he's confused with his own privilege versus mine being self-made. Hopefully his father can educate him soon. Insane. Absolutely insane. He is telling a 10-year-old, like if this was a 16-year-old, a 20-year-old, a 25-year-old, yes, great. But when a 10-year-old child calls you spoilt, first of all, maybe the problem is you. Mainly when that child themselves is spoilt and they're calling you spoilt, there is an issue. When kids are noticing that you're being a spoiled brat, there is an issue, first of all. And second of all, for you to take that and start shading them and dragging a 10-year-old child across the internet. And also, I heard, okay, this story about Jeffree Star having $500 in his bank account, wasn't it $2,000 when he first told the story? No, I'm not like I'm trying to start conspiracy theories and it's all technicalities, but when you're not rich, 1.5k is a big difference. Like, there is a huge difference between having 2k in your bank account and $500 in your bank account. And when he first told the story, he said, I had 2k in my bank account before I started my company. Anyway, I think he did this for dramatic effect. But also, why are you dragging a 10-year-old on the internet? Insane. Anyway, the next piece of tea is Sephora. Sephora is a makeup brand, makeup company that sells different makeup brands in America and other countries. We don't have it in the UK, but I'm not too upset about that now. I used to be upset about it, and now I'm not, because it turns out that Sephora hopped on a conference call with all its employees and basically said, you're all fired, good luck, and then hung up. So someone tweeted out saying, Sephora ruined our lives, lol, point blank period. Great conference call, guys. Thanks for hanging up and not letting anyone speak. Thanks for breaking all our hearts, but beauty stands together. And then someone posted an actual recording of the voicemail voicemail, and someone said, guess which company just fired all part-time employees over a mass conference call which they told us about 30 minutes in advance? Actually, don't bother guessing, it was Sephora. And then I found a blog post that perfectly speaks about the Sephora situation. It's by Alana Austin.com. Anyway, I'll put it in the description down below, just if you guys want to read it, you can read it. And it is hashtag boycott Sephora. In case you missed it, Sephora laid off their part-time employees via voicemail after saying the company would be taking care of their employees during this time. Not only that, the company was also pushing for employees, part-time included, to go to esthetician school, providing a refund for tuition expenses upon completion. Now, these workers are, one, without a job that they thought they were keeping, and two, presumably in debt due to an extra expense to their life that they didn't, like, they wouldn't have gone there themselves a lot of the time. It's Sephora told them to go and get that, like, course done because they would be getting paid back first. They were like, oh, okay, we'll just go get it done. And now they might not actually be getting paid back for it. What's the issue, you may ask? Let me break it down for you. Sephora itself rakes in, on average, $4 billion a year in revenue. The CEO is most likely a billionaire. Sephora itself is part of the LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy conglomerate, which is like a parent company, and they have Sephora under there, Dior, Givenchy, like they have a lot of big brands under there. That's why the family that owns LVMH has now bounced up on the Forbes billionaires list. Like they moved to like position number 4 within a year. They are buying every single company. They're like the Disney of fashion and beauty, which raked in a whopping $46.8 billion in 2018. Of this $46.8 billion, the perfume and cosmetics sector raked in $6.08 billion of the annual revenue. The perfume and cosmetics sector also gained $676 million in profit in 2018. Sephora is also highlighted in a 2019 article from LVMH for having strong growth in 2019, which means these numbers are likely higher. We will not know until the 2019 annual report is released. Sephora has an estimated 6,000 US employees with an average salary for non-executives weighing in at $25,000. Hypothetically speaking, Sephora could pay all 6,000 employees their annual salary, give or take 5 to 10 grand, with the gained profit in 2016 and still have 400 million left to hoard. Their biggest competitor, Ulta, only received a profit of 2 million in 2018, and they are making sure they pay their employees without layoffs. I'm sure Sephora could handle a few months, but the rich don't care about the working class. This is why it's important for us to hashtag boycott Sephora. Any company who can willingly leave their employees to fend for themselves while they self-isolate in their mansions watching the New York Stock Exchange all day doesn't deserve our money or support, especially when there are other alternatives. Instead of shopping at Sephora, shop at Ulta. They haven't laid off their workers yet, or shop directly from the cosmetic company's sites. And then it goes on to obviously talk about other things. And yeah, the same is happening with Amazon. I know a lot of people are protesting Amazon right now. Amazon has done a lot over the years, but yeah, they're not making their workers stop, and they're not just providing the essentials because they're still selling like non-essential products on there, so people are working to sell non-essential products. The next piece of tea is James Charles. James Charles has recently been talking about doing like a reality TV show type thing for influencers, like a competition for like the influencer thing, and he said he would pick smaller influencers to boost up and give them basically a career, and people are expecting great things, and James Charles announced it on Instagram. It's called Instant Influencer. It's going to be on YouTube Originals. Can you guys tell what the problem is? So a lot of people are saying there is like zero diversity there. Norveen is somehow involved in this, which is crazy. Like, that's really great, but there is like no age range, no skin tone range. Just, yeah, people are kind of disappointed in this because they were kind of expecting James Charles to pull through and do smaller influencers that were of different ages and different skin tones and I don't know, just different backgrounds, and it would be kind of interesting for that to be pushed out more, but it isn't. So that's kind of disappointing. Someone quote tweeted that and said, come on representation, and it's funny because there is none. You know, I'm very positive about James Charles lately, but I will still say it if he's doing something wrong, and I think this could have been done a little bit better, lot of better. Anyway, lately Cole Carrigan has come out on Instagram story to say that he has tested positive for the thing that we can't talk about on this platform without getting demonetized, and then he started like flying out to places. He posted a picture where he was at the Dallas Executive Airport. So yeah, people are saying he's one of those people that does a lot of things for clout. He will try to expose people for clout, and he does like really controversial for clout, and I think this is another one of those things. Cole Carrigan is someone that I just do not respect at all, not one bit. Not 1% of me respects him or trusts what he says or what he does a lot of the time, because I think his intentions are bad 99.9% of the time, and I just don't trust it. And I think in this time when things are going so wrong and so many people are actually suffering right now mentally and physically, for you to be like, oh, I have this thing, I'm just trying to join in and be part of the crew, blows my mind. He's the guy that basically stole a lot look from a smaller MUA, which was problematic in itself. It was a look where he like, you know, when the Australian wildfires were going on, he like painted the wildfires on his face. I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm just disappointed in people, honestly, but like, what did I expect? To be fair, to be disappointed, you have to have high expectations, and I don't, so I can't say I was disappointed. It's just like, oh, this again, cool. Recently, Dani Con has been called out for queer baiting because she, in a lot of thumbnails, pretends to like kiss girls and kind of do that thing. And then in a recent video, she kind of addressed that and was like, oh, well, am I bi? Am I not? Well, I don't want to put labels on things. I think labels are just unnecessary. And she's basically pushing the agenda of, oh, I might be or I might not be, to get more views and more clicks, when in reality, you know, she's probably not. She's only ever shown an interest in guys, and she's only ever used liking girls as a way to clickbait a Q&A or a truth or dare or would you rather, you know, like she's never really expressed an interest in anything but boys. Not to say that that means she isn't, but you know, I don't think she is, and I think she's now realized that this is like a point of, you know, curiosity for people about her, and she's going to use that for views, as she does, because this is probably her mum working behind the scenes again full time. I'm not going to play any clips of her talking about this because she works with Collab DRM, who are the ones that copyright claim every single video that even slightly remotely shows anything that belongs to one of their clients, which is against the law, but I'm not going to go to court to try and fight it. So I guess we're gonna have to deal with no clips being shown of that, which is a shame, but you know, whatever. I recently spoke about House Party and Zoom and how people think that they're hacking into their phones. Zoom is being used by schools to do like online lessons, and House Party is being used for that reason. A house party, people are like playing games and watching Netflix together and doing all that good. And House Party was the main one for apparently hacking into people's phones and for taking credit card information. And recently I was like, oh, this could be true, this could not be true. I had a few people DM me that they've had an issue with House Party, but I was like, you know, it could be anything. And then House Party tweeted out saying something along the lines of, we will give like $1 million to anyone that gives actual evidence of a hacking. And I was like, what's happening? So they sound guilty to me, and I hope someone finds evidence and gets $1 million, because wow, I think there is going to be a class action lawsuit against them. I think that's what's brewing, and I think that's very important. You know, everyone has so much information on their phones and their computers now. Like our whole life pretty much is on our phone and computer. So for people to hack in, clearly that whole app is just not protected enough or secure enough, and that is not on us, that is on them, and there needs to be a class action lawsuit because people's credit card information is being given out, people's passwords are being hacked. It's just, yeah, I think there's a class action lawsuit in the making as we speak. The next story is, I recently spoke about Ariana Grande and Victorious and Victoria Justice. Victoria Justice has been a meme for the last like 2 or 3 years because she was the most bland in Victorious, and she was actually the worst singer in Victorious. She wasn't a bad singer, but compared to Broadway trained singers, she wasn't a good singer. Leon Thomas, Liz Gillies, and Ariana Grande are all Broadway trained singers, and then you have Victoria Justice, who is just a very average singer, but they always put her front and center. And yeah, so there was always this like tea where there was this one interview where Liz Gillies is like, oh, I think Ariana Grande is such an incredible singer, she's such a talented singer, which she is. And then Victoria Justice goes, I think we're all talented singers. And it became a meme of Victoria Justice just trying to like fit in and be like, we're all great singers, we're all great actors, we're all talented. And she became a meme, and that's all she had going for her, really. Because I don't know why she didn't blow up after this. She was the main character, this was a show named after her, and she's the only one that didn't really do much after Victorious. And then Ariana Grande posted something, and someone replied to that saying, oh, I think we're all talented, to poke fun at Victoria Justice, and Ariana Grande told her to shut the f up. And I spoke about that, and now the girl basically came out and said that she's now being bullied by Ariana Grande stans who can be a little aggressive sometimes. Some of them are really great and some of them are really passionate, and I think I can really appreciate that, but sometimes it can go too far. But that's with any stan anywhere. Like, I don't blame this on a certain stan group. That's why I'm never like against K-pop stans or anything like that. I think every stan group has good and bad aspects, so you know, let teenagers be teenagers. So the girl tweets out saying, the fact that half of these comments are hating and being rude pisses me off. It's 2020 and I've apologized like 59 times and you still won't leave me the alone. Once again, I'm sorry if I offended anyone. It was not my intention. I love Victoria and wouldn't hate on her. And then she replies to that saying, I'm over this at Ariana Grande, and she received a DM saying, we don't want your dumb shirt ugly bitch get into a wreck. And this is why I consistently talk about the fact that when you have a big platform, you a lot of the times just can't put people on blast. That saying though, if someone leaves a comment telling you to go yourself, then yeah, put them on blast because they did to you what you're going to do to them. But if someone just made a silly joke, I think a lot of the times we have to control ourselves because it can end up like this, which is disproportionate. She spoke about a meme that is huge on the internet and now she's being told to yourself. Like, that is not equal. So I think if you have a big platform, you have to kind of find the balance of don't let people walk all over you, because I think people think that they can say whatever they want to like YouTubers and celebrities and they won't say anything back. Like, that's stupid. But if someone's just making a joke, I don't think you have to put them on blast. This wasn't one of those times to put people on blast. Next, Kim Kardashian. Okay, so there was an article on Distractify about Kim Kardashian. It's called Kim Kardashian Slammed for Selling $60 Crisis Kit to Profit from Pandemic. And I thought it had to be a joke. Like, this has to be a joke. It's not. Spoiler alert. So the article says, when you're as much in the public eye as Kim Kardashian is, you're going to get criticized for basically every move you make. When videos showing off Kim's kitchen refrigerators went viral, for example, tons of eat the rich comments were made in response on social media. While it didn't really help that her kitchen was bigger than most New York apartments and she leads a lifestyle most people can't even dream of, some thought it was unfair to castigate Kim. Criticizing her for spending her money the way she sees fit, and exorbitant as it might seem, is a bit harsh according to many. Who knows? Maybe if they were as loaded as Kim, they'd use their cash in ways other folks would criticize. However, there are a lot who are finding it hard to get behind the Kardashian who started it all for her latest business venture, promoting the sale of her friend's luxury crisis kits. In a social media post that saw its fair share of blowback, Kim can be seen rocking an N95 face mask to help promote the Judy line of crisis kits put together by her friend, publicist Simon Hux. The kits range from $60 to $250 and contain the mask produced by 3M, along with varying quantities of emergency blankets, ponchos, rubber gloves, emergency food, and water in the hopes of making preparation a household essential. And that actually leads me on to, I watched a Smoky Glow video the other day, and she said that she was recently emailed by a company that was like, hey, can you do a sponsored video for our Voldemort supplies, like antibacterial gel and stuff, so people can buy it from us with a 15% discount, and then we'll send you free supplies. And she was like, people are using this crisis to basically prey on vulnerable people. It's insane. I think this was such a bad move from Kim Kardashian, right after the Taylor Swift situation as well. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, comment down below anything, comment down below, and subscribe because I post videos every other day-ish. So hit that bell and you'll be notified when that's happening. Social media links and anything else in the description down below, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.